Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have John with me. He hasn't been in a video in a while, and we are going to answer your questions. So I put out a call for questions on Instagram stories. We're going to jump right in because I got a lot of them, and I hope you enjoy the video. So I got a lot of questions about how to keep our marriage strong when you have a new baby or after you've been married for a long time. So what do you think?
I guess so. After a long time applies to us.
Yeah.
Since we haven't had any babies in a while.
Yeah.
I think it's important just to kind of keep things fresh. I know there were questions about date nights and that type of thing. So we try to do a number of date nights and go on different types of nights out, and then we like trips as well, so we try to get away and spend time with one another, and we do things at night like watch Jeopardy and other shows.
That's very romantic.
Yeah, just stuff, having a routine with your spouse where you're spending time together is probably a really important.
Because we can get so busy and then we feel like all these other things are important, and then you realize you just have a sliver left over for your spouse. And if that's the case, we definitely need to cut back on our yes and not commit to so many things, because at the end of the day, it's you and your spouse. For those of you who are going to have a baby or have young children, I think it's really important to remember that one day your kids will be grown up and out of the house, and it will be just the two of you, and you really need to always work on your relationship. And I got asked specifically from someone who is about to have a baby, your relationship will definitely change when you have kids, but I don't think it has to be a bad thing. You may fall more in love with your spouse when you see them as a parent loving your kids, and it's just a really exciting time. And when your babies are newborn, you are tired and you don't have a lot of time where you're not constantly tending to the needs of the baby, but it doesn't last forever. So you kind of just survive at the very beginning when they're newborns, but then eventually you'll feel more comfortable where you could go on a date night, or they'll finally sleep for longer periods of time and you can spend time with your spouse alone. And just making it a priority is a big deal.
And for guys also with a newborn, to actually be there to help out is a huge thing. So if you, right from the beginning, commit yourself to sharing in the responsibilities as much as possible, with the newborn, and being active in all the things from changing diapers to dishes and everything else that goes on, helps to alleviate resentment and things like that if the mom is responsible for everything.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about arguments?
Just don't do it.
Don't argue.
Just stop.
And we got asked if we do argue.
No.
Never.
Not today, at least.
We do argue. We're very normal. And some people were like, oh, we never see you argue or whatever, but you're not going to put that on social media, hopefully. So it's best to just work those things out on your own, and then if it gets to where you need counseling or something, then don't be afraid to do that either. But airing it to everyone or on social media is definitely not going to help things. So I got asked about staying attracted to each other. What do you have to say?
Well, hopefully that is the case throughout your marriage. Jennifer and I both like to work out and exercise, so I think that's one thing that helps. Not that you have to be the perfect person or have a perfect body, but it helps if you stay fit. I think in general, that's going to be attractive to most people. So, yeah, we just try to take care of ourselves. We try to eat as healthy as possible, exercise.
Everyone is going to get older, and you're not going to look the same as your wedding day. So that should not be the expectation for the wife or the husband, because that's impossible. But when you love someone, you're attracted to them for more than just what they look like on the outside. But I do think for both the husband and the wife, it's not just the wife has to look good for the husband. I think the husband should want to be, have his wife attracted to him. So I think it's really important to take care of yourself, put a little effort into your appearance. You don't have to be perfect, and you'll go through stages where you have little kids and maybe don't have a lot of time to, curl your hair and stuff, but you can look pulled together. You can be fresh and clean and have a clean sweater and jeans on and still look, nice. I mean, John is attracted to me when I'm wearing my leggings, and so leggings are fine, or like your workout clothes. I change out of my workout clothes, but it's not like just because you have leggings and a tank top on, you're not attractive. So you can be comfortable and still look cute.
I agree.
So I think just making an effort, taking care of yourself, but that will also make you feel better too. And I talked about that in a lot of videos. There are days where we're just like hanging out in our PJs, and there are days where I get all the way ready, and most days I get all the way ready and I do feel better. And when you feel better about the way that you look, then it kind of shows in your personality and all of those things.
Yeah, and you just need to get really good looking pajamas.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll take care of it.
So this one was from a guy on Instagram stories, and he asked, does John thank God enough for a clean house with a beautiful and fit wife in it?
I probably don't, but I do. I do. Thank God for Jennifer. Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I am actually very thankful for Jennifer, and we've been married for a long time now, and she's such a part of my life. We're getting to that point. I don't know if we're both at that point, but where we've been married longer than we were unmarried.
Yeah.
So we've been a part of each other's lives for longer than we were single.
Yeah, I've been his wife for longer than I wasn't.
Yeah. So, when it starts getting to that point, you're thankful, like you're still alive, you're still married,
Yeah.
Your kids are doing relatively well and things like that. So you start to kind of reflect on and count your blessings, as it were. And yeah, I'm very thankful because, obviously, watching the channel, everything she does, but it's, real life. She's actually committed to all these things, and, our faith in Christ is very important to us. And so that's what connects us, ultimately. And then, the Lord has just been really good to us, over the years in a lot of different ways. And we're just thankful that we have our family. And, as she's probably mentioned many times, we're not perfect people at all. And it's just, a lot of God's grace in our lives that He has, helped us, to grow. We were married when we were very young, so we didn't know anything. We had kids when we were really young. We didn't know anything.
Right.
To answer the question, yes, I am thankful.
And that brought up a good point with arguing and keeping your marriage strong and this is not a judgment on anyone who's been divorced or anything like that, but for us, we have committed to staying married and we work toward that, to always be married. And of course there are exceptions. I'm not going to stay with someone if he's out having affairs or something like that, but we work to keep our marriage forever. So, yeah. How do we plan date nights? Do we plan it together? Favorite date night ideas on a budget? Date nights when kids were smaller? Date nights at home besides just watching TV? So I got a lot of date night questions. We typically go out once a month, sometimes it's twice. And we've been trying to go to new restaurants. We get on these kicks where we try a bunch of new restaurants, and that's always fun, just to go out and try new places. We live in the Metro Detroit area, so we have Ann Arbor, which is fun, and there's tons of great restaurants. We also aren't too awfully far from Detroit, like Royal Oak, so we have a lot of good cities where like there's a lot to do around here. And the Metro Detroit area has so much culture, and there's like lots of different ethnic foods to try. It's just a really awesome place to go on
A
date
lot
night.
of good foods
Yes,
to try.
we have just amazing food and culture here, so it's really fun. So that's kind of what we do at this age, and we wanted to do a couple of fun things this year that maybe we've never done. So one of our recent date nights, we went out to eat to a restaurant we had never been to, and then we went glow in the dark golfing because it's cold here in Michigan, and it was actually really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well done, the artwork and everything. So we had fun, and in the summer, a lot of times we walk around Ann Arbor and go out to eat and hang out. So that's typically what we do. And as far as planning, like who plans it, we'll get a general idea of where we want to go, and then each of us will look up restaurants. And a lot of times, because I'm kind of the foodie, John will, have me pick somewhere. But sometimes he finds a place to try, and we'll look at the menu and kind of see, I know what he likes, so I'll kind of see like, okay, they have crab cakes. A less expensive date, we did a lot of that when our kids were younger. So what we would do is one of our moms would watch the kids, so we didn't have to pay for babysitting, which really helped. And I know that not all of you have that option, but I know some people switch on and off with another couple. So one couple will watch all of the kids while the other goes out, and then they'll switch the next weekend, where 1 month it's your turn and the next it's the others, or something like that. So that could really help with babysitting costs. Of course, I'm the same way. I wouldn't want someone I didn't trust to watch my kids. So if that's an option, it's good. And then we would go to places that weren't very expensive. And even sometimes when the kids were younger, we were on a tight budget. So we would have like $20 for our meal, and then enough for a good tip and everything. So we would just pick something on the menu that was pretty inexpensive. And at that point, it wasn't necessarily about going out and having this extravagant meal. It was just going out. Even if you just went out for coffee and decided, all right, we only have $10, so we can each get a coffee that's around $5, or we're just gonna go get 1 scoop of ice cream, or you don't have to spend any money. Find a really pretty park to walk around and just walk and talk. It's about getting out. It doesn't always have to be about food, although it seems like it really does not.
Or you can hit the value menu.
Yeah.
Just load up on the value menu.
Yeah.
Date nights in.
Yeah.
So you could always do like a game night. Well, we try to do sometimes. We don't always accomplish it, but sometimes we'll just not turn on the TV or turn it off and then just talk for a while.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of amazed, like, oh wow, we just talked for an hour
Yeah.
about any number of things.
One thing that is nice when it's warmer is just sitting outside. So if you have younger kids, you could have a monitor or have the window open so that you could hear, and just sit out on the patio or on the porch, maybe a bonfire. That's so nice. I really enjoy that. You could make a meal together, so you could even maybe have a little snack while the kids are eating dinner, and then once they go to bed, because usually little kids go to bed so early, you could do one of the meal delivery services, or just find a recipe, buy all the ingredients, and cook together, which is really fun. And you're both in the kitchen and then clean up together. We clean up the kitchen after dinner each night, and then we hang out. So those are a few, maybe not brilliant ideas, but maybe that will help you think of some things that you can do. We got asked a lot about if we plan to stay in this house after our kids move out. Every single time I put out a call for questions, I get asked that. And then I also get asked how we feel about being empty nesters.
So the answer to that question is we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like our house a lot and we like the area, but we really don't know.
It kind of depends on if our kids live around us and if they're coming over, because I do want to have a good size home if we have their spouse and their kids eventually, so that we're not just in a small space, although you can make anything work, but it would be nice. And we love where we live, as far as like out there, it's so pretty, and we love the city we live in. It's just great. So we're not sure. We also got asked a lot about how we feel about being empty nesters. So we probably won't be empty nesters for a few more years, because our boys are in college and they are commuting, and we live near universities and colleges, and that's what they wanted to do. So they both want to just save their money while they're working and going to school, and then buy a place of their own, whether it be a condo or a home, and we're fine with that. I mean, Christian, it will probably just be like a year or maybe a little longer, but yeah, I think because we've had them live with us through college, it's not as hard as they're off to college and then you're an empty nester. It's a gradual thing, and we're close to our kids, so I'm hoping they, we'll still have them around and stuff. But I also believe in helping your kids along the way to be independent. So yeah, we'll let you know when we get there.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten there, so
yeah,
we're not really sure at this point.
All right, how do we divide our finances between the two of us? It all just goes to one pot.
Yeah.
It just all goes. We don't have separate accounts. We don't have, I pay for this and he pays for that. It just all goes together. We make almost the same amount, but we didn't always. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I worked just a little bit, and at that point I would cover the groceries and any extras. So like if the kids needed new shoes or something, I would just buy it, and John's money was automatically deposited, so it just worked that way because I had the cash to go to the grocery store and I had the cash to go buy whatever we needed. But now it just all goes together. We've been married for 22 years, and it's just, we don't really think of it as like my money or his money. It just all goes together. And I got asked about, I buy nail polish was her example. I'm like, okay, I only buy nail polish like once a year, but and John buys what? So we each have spending money, and we do that every 2 weeks. We get X amount of dollars for spending money, and we get the same amount. But if we actually need something, we, say, all right, I'm going to need this, and we just get it. We also get money and gift cards for Christmas, so a lot of times we'll buy clothes with that. But as far as what John buys, he's all about the golf clubs and all golf accessories, pretty much, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of golf stuff, and you know, usually our spending money. That's how I pay for golf throughout the summer and that type of thing.
And I use mine for mostly clothes, or I'll save it and get something, you know, shoes or makeup or anything really. And then we'll use our spending money if we go out with a friend to eat. I do think it's important to discuss big purchases with your spouse so that they know, and that way you're both not buying something that was a couple $100s at the same time, and you have plenty of money for your bills, and kind of talk about that. So we just got a new TV, and we had been planning to get a new TV for quite a while, and we were looking around Black Friday and they were all gone, so we had the money to get it, and that was something that we both agreed that we were going to purchase for our house, you know. So that's how we do things. Or if I want to get something new for the house, I'll say, all right, this month I'm going to look for this, and it's going to be about this much. For our big home project, so last year I said, I'd really like to get new light fixtures, so we'll save for that.
Yeah, basically just talk to one another and,
Yeah.
you know, keep each other informed on, you know, what we're looking to buy or want,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah. And when things were really tight, we had to talk about any little bit of money really, that, you know, $50 or something. And now it's not so tight. So if John's at Lowe's and he sees something like, oh yeah, we could really use a staple gun or whatever, he'll just buy it, and it's not a big deal. And if I'm at Target and I'm like, oh, we could really use these, I'll just go ahead and get it, and it's not a big deal. But it used to be, we couldn't really do that. So wherever you are in your stage of life with your budget, it's just really important to have open communication. We also set goals with our finances. So last year we had a certain amount that we wanted to save, and in all honesty, I'm the one that usually has the idea for the goal, and then I talk, you guys know I'm like finance background, and that's kind of my thing. So I talk to John about it, and I say, let's try to save this amount this year, and we'll put away this much each month. And you know, he's like, oh, this is great. At the end, when we had that amount.
Hey, good idea.
Yeah. And we also wanted to take our boys on the trip that we went on the West Coast in Maui. And so we kind of talked about that together, how long it would take to save. And these are all questions I got asked, by the way, like vacations and things. And about how much it was going to cost, because you can go on a vacation and spend hordes of money. There's pretty much no limit. Or you can go on a vacation and it can be budget friendly. So you have to decide, all right, what's realistic here? What can we really afford? And then, you know, look up about how much plane tickets are going to be, about how much the hotel or the resort will be. Look up all the things that you're going to want to spend money on, the activities and food, and if you need 2 rooms because your kids are older, all of those things. Add it up and then divide by how many months you have to save, and you know.
Yeah, that was a big trip for us, so it took a while for me to get my head around it, like how much I had to like kind of map out where we were going. It took a while to figure out, you know, how much it was actually going to cost, and then we came up with a budget for it. Because you really don't want to go into a vacation or many things at all where you just have no idea how much you're going to be spending, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we tried to think through it, and part of it is we've traveled quite a bit or more recently, so we kind of have a feel for how much things cost, and we can kind of think to ourselves, all right, if we need to fly and rent a car and do this and that,
Yeah.
we kind of have an idea of what that's going to be and can make plans that way.
Yeah, and just some ideas for ways to save money when you travel. Driving obviously is usually less expensive unless you get an awesome deal. But we would go to North Carolina when our kids were younger and we didn't have like hordes of money. So we wanted to eat at all the delicious seafood restaurants, I mean, every night, but we just didn't have it in our budget. So some nights we would go to this really good barbecue place. It's kind of like a fast food. It's called Smithfield. I don't know if you live in an area that has Smithfield. It's a chain, but it's really good. Like
in the Carolinas.
Yeah, barbecue. So we could feed our whole family for like $20 or something, you know. So we would do that some nights. You'd just get maybe something that you can only find there still. So it's still like a treat, but it's not just going to the drive-thru at McDonald's, but it's not as expensive as some of the seafood places. So there are ways to save and everything on vacation. We also got asked how to stick to your grocery budget when you want to buy organic. So I would say determine what is the most important to you to buy organic. Maybe this person did not live in the US, and living in the US, we buy most of our dairy organic because just the different regulations and things are a little tighter in other areas. So here, I think it's important to buy organic dairy. We buy organic meat and fruits and vegetables, but we've had different budgets where we just couldn't buy all of that. So then you have to determine what is important to you. So maybe organic apples because you're eating the flesh of the apple and the skin is really thin, but you'll buy regular oranges. And you only have what you have, so you just have to make it work no matter what your food budget is. But just do your best and know that it's not just, you know, if you eat non-organic strawberries that week, it's not the end of the world, you know. I've had to go to that conclusion because organic food can be a lot more expensive, but a lot of things aren't all that much more. It's just like 20 cents more to buy an organic onion than it was a regular one. So maybe look at those things.
And I think also, because I get into grocery shopping just a little bit if I have to stop and get something, but I always try to just buy things that are on sale. And because fortunately these days so many more things are natural or organic, or at least they're trying to, you know, remove questionable additives or whatnot. So there are a lot more choices at, you know, big chain grocery stores, and I just try to buy stuff that's on sale. I mean, if you just do that consistently, just if you have 5 things to choose from that you could buy, and one of them is $1 off or whatever, you know, use your grocery stores, you know, discount program and everything, and I think you can save a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
Just looking for deals.
Another thing is, and I'm not saying I never pay for things that out of convenience. Obviously, when you go out to eat, you're paying more than what you could make it for at home because of the convenience of it. But if it's really important to you to buy organic, but you do have more time, then you could make things from scratch and save money that way. It is usually cheaper to bake your own treats for your family, make your own granola bars, make your own chicken stock or vegetable stock, make your own sandwiches, cut your own fruit, cut your own vegetables, and don't buy any of that stuff pre-cut, and you can save money that way. Those are just some ideas, but at the end of the day, you have what you have, and you just have to get food for your family, even if it can't all be organic. It can still be very healthy and nourishing. Well guys, I think we better wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and we hope you have a wonderful day. I'm gonna grab you one. Still going.
You do that again. Do yours, and I'll do like an eye roll.